and there wasn't much of anything going on in terms of SEC football news on Tuesday. So I thought it'd be a great time to break this out, and it involves all 14 SEC programs, which we love to do more than anybody else, I think, out there providing SEC content. So what is it I'm talking about? The initial preseason rankings from ESPN, the SP Plus, which is Bill Connolly's ranking systems, formerly, of course, of SB Nation. Now he's been working for ESPN for a couple of years now, but these are his analytics that he uses, a unique formula. And the reason I wanted to show these rankings just because they're unusual. You're not going to see many preseason top 25 rankings quite like this one. Well, I'll reveal those in just a second. If you missed, these came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. But how these come about, these are not subjective rankings. This is a computer model that you insert returning experience, returning production, I think is what he calls it, recruiting success, how much talent you got on your roster, and recent history or success on the field. So you take those 3 factors, again, returning production, recent recruiting results, recent results on the field, puts those all into his computer model, and that's how he gets his top 25. So let's cut down to the list here on YouTube. I'll throw it up to the list, and we'll break this down one by one on the audio version. A surprise right at the top of the rankings. It's not Alabama, who you'd think most people are going to have not only as number 1 in the country, but the SP model's got Ohio State number 1. But the first team in the SEC, Georgia. SP Plus has got Georgia number 2 in the country. Now, that's not a complete stunner, I wouldn't think. I mean, I am surprised by that. I think most people would have Alabama and everything they got returning. They'd put Alabama ahead of Georgia at this point in time, but it's not like Georgia's going to fall off a cliff here. So, Georgia number 2 in the preseason rankings. Pretty surprising. So, number 3, no surprise. If Alabama was any further down this list, we could probably just trash it and say it's not worth anything. So, thankfully, he's got number 3, Alabama, on the board after a 13-2 season. And don't forget the SEC champions, Alabama Crimson Tide. Number 3, that's still a little too low for me, but, I guess I could see that. You just never know. And then here, we're going to get things exciting here. The hype train is, it's been going on for 2 or 3 years now in College Station. And here, according to ESPN SP Plus, Texas A&M number 6 in the country. I think every Aggie coming off that 8-4 season, they'd be happy with the preseason ranking in the top 10, number 6 in the country. They're going to have to prove it on the field, but hey, they got all the talent and the coaching in the world to get that done. So Texas A&M number 6, probably a little high for me, to be honest with you, but again, not a stunner. I wouldn't fight you on it. But how about this one? This one's for the big Tennessee homer. This is pretty stunning to me. Tennessee, number 9 in the country, coming off a 7-6 season. So the SP Plus model loves the Volunteers and what they got returning, because I'm not, again, this is 3 models here. What you did on the field recently, your recruiting, and what you're returning. And Tennessee, I'm not sitting here saying they've not recruited well, because they are a top 20 recruiter for sure, but it's not recent results can certainly factor Tennessee number 9, but I guess this model really loves high-flying scoring offenses. So Tennessee, again, number 9 in the country. I think that's going to raise some eyebrows. Again, I think that's a little too rich for my blood when you're talking the Tennessee Vols, but that's where S&P Plus has got them. Now, how about this one? Here's another stunner, and it goes to what I was saying. This model must love high-flying offensive scoring machines, because they'd be dancing in the streets here in Starkville. If Mississippi State finishes as high as number 12 in the country, that's where SP Plus has got the Mississippi State Bulldogs right now, number 12 in the country, coming off that 7-6 season, which had certainly some highs. And, so many weapons on the offensive side of the ball returning from Mike Leach and company. I think certainly this projection thinks that that is going to lead to just more progress on that side of the ball. I thought the Bulldog defense took a little bit of a step back, which I was not anticipating, because Zach Arnett did such a good job his first year. Just, again, I think they took a slight step back on that defense, started giving up a lot of explosive plays, at least more than they did the year prior. So we got to fix that if we're going to finish as high as number 12 in the country. But that's where ESPN SP Plus has got the Bulldogs right now. Now, how about this one? Number 18, Florida Gators. Billy Napier's debut season. That's not where the standard is with the Florida program, but I think they'd be happy with a top 20 team this season, and particularly entering the season. Now they're certainly gonna have to earn it right off the bat here. Utah, they got Tennessee week 4. I mean, it's not going to be easy for the Florida Gators, who, based on this model, all the first month of the season, they're facing 3 teams ranked higher than them, and considering Florida's 18, that gives you just an idea of just how tough this schedule is going to be right out the gate for Billy Napier and company. But a lot of respect for that Gator roster and the talent on that team, according to the ESPN. Now this one, I don't think this team's getting enough respect here. Number 21, Kentucky Wildcats, coming off a 10-3 season. I think you got to put them ahead of Florida, Mississippi State, and Tennessee. That's just my opinion. You know, we'll see how it goes. There's so much time. I'm not ready to give my official predictions or anything, but number 1, Kentucky. I think most Kentucky fans are going to fight you on that one. Top 15 status for the Wildcats. I think they've earned that coming off their second 10-win season in 4 years here. I mean, and the talent is, I know they lost a couple of players to the NFL, but this defense could be really, really good based on what they've been recruiting in recent seasons, and the offense may be even better. So, we'll have to see who they hire to replace Liam Cohen. That'll go a long way to determining how good this offense is. But 21, I'm not buying that. I think my stock's a little bit higher on Kentucky. And then here, this team may be the ultimate wild card in the SEC. Could see him go either way here, up or down this rankings. Number 22, Ole Miss, coming off a 10-3 season. And again, I got no problem if you want to rate Ole Miss a little bit higher than this, given everything Lane Kiffin's accomplished. But at the same time, so much coaching turnover, so much roster turnover. Now they have supplemented that, of course, with the transfer portal. And how quickly can they get a lot of these players up to speed? That remains to be seen. But they've done a hell of a job so far there in Oxford, getting transfers and players that were playing in a completely different system up to speed. So, I got confidence in Lane Kiffin. I think, the more I talk about it, I think you got to put Ole Miss at least inside the top 20. So I think Ole Miss, you got to give them a little bit better than 22. That's just my opinion. Now, here again, another surprising one. Number 25, the Auburn Tigers. Not sure what we're seeing here with the Auburn Tigers. I know all the drama. Now maybe that galvanizes this team and gets everybody down there on the plains behind Brian Harsin. And this proves to be a wise call here by the SP Plus. But Auburn coming off a 6-7 season, losing their final 5. Don't see any way that they have earned a top 25 billing at this point in time. But that's where ESPN SP Plus has got them. Now again, perhaps the most disrespected team, not only in the SEC, but maybe the country, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Number 28, coming off a 9-4 season. Not sure how you got Auburn ahead of them, or Florida, or Mississippi State, maybe even Tennessee. So, that's number 28. I don't get it. Arkansas, you got to rate them in your preseason top 25. You got to adjust your model if Arkansas is outside of it. Not saying they should be, top 5 in the country. I've seen some people suggest, top 10. That's a little too rich for my blood. But I certainly think Arkansas can get there. Hell, they did it last season. They were top 10 when they went into Georgia. So not saying, they can't reach that heights, but they've got to prove a little bit something to me. So I'd probably have Arkansas around 15 to 20, that range. So I'm not sure I'm agreeing with this 28 ranking, but that, again, this is not my model. This is ESPN SP Plus here. And then big drop off here, LSU Tigers, number 45 in the country. And again, I'm not buying that either, because I know there's a lot of defections there in Baton Rouge this offseason, but hell, they're another one that's really hit the transfer portal hard. They're bringing in a coach that knows how to win, expects to win championships. I'm fine with LSU not being ranked in the top 25, but I think by the end of the season, there's an outstanding chance they're there. So 45, again, too low for me. I'd probably put them closer to 35, but that's just me. They are coming off a 6-7 season, very disappointing. Got to get that bad taste out of my mouth before we see LSU ranked in a preseason poll, in my opinion. Now, this is the most bizarre one of all. South Carolina, 49. What? Coming off a 7-6 season. We know all the transfer additions they've had. A lot of staff continuity in Columbia. Only replacing 2 assistants, I believe. And 49. I mean, they were Jekyll and Hyde at times last year, but I think South Carolina is poised to be, one of the biggest risers in the SEC this season. Again, not sitting here saying they need to be ranked in the preseason. Not that I would actually have an issue with that. If you put South Carolina 25, I'm not going to fight you on it. But maybe you got to let them earn that ranking. But hell, they beat Auburn, and Auburn's sitting here at 25. I'd probably flip Auburn and South Carolina at this point. So South Carolina 49, cannot wait for the mentions to get blown up with that ranking. That's a wild one. Now, again, this one I think also underrated. Number 54, Missouri Tigers, coming off a 6-7 season. Now, obviously, last year was very disappointing. High hopes there in Columbia last fall, but it's hard for me to think that there's 53 better teams in the country than Missouri. I mean, this is not a team that is going winless in the SEC or something, and that's kind of what this 54 ranking indicates to me. I mean, Missouri is probably going to finish with a 500 SEC record or better. So you got to put them, I would think, in the top 40. I mean, 54 is kind of ridiculous. Maybe this is a factor of just losing Tyler Beatty, losing your starting quarterback. There's not a lot to work with there in terms of returning experience at those 2 key positions, and maybe that's what this model's factoring in. But, hey, don't shoot the messenger. Missouri Tigers, 54. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's where this model has them. Now, last and kind of least here, Vanderbilt, 113 according to this model after a 2-10 season. Now, I should add the little caveat here, maybe a little ray of sunshine here for the Commodores. Bill Connolly, he's the one that does this computer metric here. He's got the Vanderbilt poised to be one of the most improved teams in the country according to his model. Now, ranking them 113th in the preseason, if they're most improved, you got to imagine they're going to crack the top 100. Let's hope to God here. I mean, it can't be that bad again. So, that just gives you an idea of where they're starting from scratch there in Vanderbilt. Just brought in a recruiting class that one of the best in school history that they're pretty proud of. So a lot of those freshmen, I got to imagine, are going to play day one here if Vanderbilt's ranking is this damn low.